and just making sure his hero has a hard time using Dark Ritual on a skeleton. And again, just so annoying, getting in range of his towers. I mean, he's wasted a lot of money on those towers, and I don't recommend getting them, but, I mean, I'm not exploiting that the way I should by just avoiding his towers, which is what you're meant to do if your opponent turtles up like that. In hindsight, a better thing for me to do at this point in the game would have just been to retreat and go creep the map and get an expansion, because he's really behind on just unit count, hero levels, money, that kind of thing. But his hero is really weak at this point, so just want to make sure I'm out of range. I want to hold position somewhere because I'm just losing too many units to that. And bring in my Lich, because my Lich has a very powerful Nova at this point, and wham, taking out the Death Knight. So that's all I wanted to do. So I've got a hero kill now. That's experience for me, and his units aren't really going to be able to hurt mine, especially with Death Coil on the Lich. And again, just want to stay out of range of the Spirit Towers and take out a building, because he hasn't got any Spirit Towers over the top left side of his base. Just going to ignore the Gargoyles for a bit here, and maybe if I can kill the no, just trying to take out that crypt. That'll slow his production down, and then I can just go focus on doing whatever. But yeah, finally took out the crypt. So mission accomplished there. He's built even more Spirit Towers, so now would be the time to actually get out of his base. I'm sure you guys watching would agree. And Death Knight is really looking a bit woozy over there. Upgrading to Black Citadel. I'm really interested in getting the upgrade for ghouls, which makes them attack quicker. And doing a bit of creeping here next to the Goblin Merchant. Maybe I can get myself a little bit more in the way of items. And I might even think about getting a Slaughterhouse before long. A Slaughterhouse will allow me to get some of those statues, which are really handy. And he's flying out here with some not necromancers, some gargoyles. Really low in health for that Death Knight, so I better run. But he's not really going to do too much damage. Gargoyles don't really do too much damage to ground units, but if it's just like heroes and ghouls versus heroes and gargoyles, typically the gargoyles win it, because the ghouls obviously can't attack the gargoyles, and gargoyles really good harassment unit. And selling items that I don't need, looking to maybe if I can buy something else. I'm not sure if I need too much else. Scroll of Healing maybe. It's whatever I can afford. And at this point, I'm finding myself a little bit low on money, so one thing I might attempt at this point is to go and do a bit more creeping, making sure my ghouls are harvesting lumber next to the actual graveyard. Yep. And yeah, so doing a bit of creeping is the way to go. I've got to Black Citadel now. I'm upgrading the Ghoul Frenzy attack speed upgrade. And creeping at this point seems like a good idea, since my opponent is fairly behind me in terms of tech and units. When I get some money for myself, upgrade my hero levels, and I noticed that he only went for one hero, so if I can keep my hero levels above his, then I should be doing fine. What items have we here? Just making sure again once my ghouls are back to lumber, and it looks like I did find a potion of invulnerability, handy item for the Death Knight, not so much for the Lich, but for the Death Knight can heal the Lich while it uses the potion to save its own life. So that's a handy thing to do. Heading around to the roughly the sort of mid 6 o'clock position to do a bit more creeping, taking out the CZ camp. Maybe I should have ignored this camp in hindsight, but it doesn't really matter too much. Level up the Death Knight, so that's handy. Looks like I'm on level 3 for Death Coil, which is good. I think I'll head around here and take out the mercenary camp. Yep. I'm running out of stuff to say about this game. It's Warcraft 3, not that exciting when just the armies are creeping around. But one thing I've decided to do here is go for a Dreadlord. There are a couple of reasons why I've decided to do that. I mean, there are other choices. But one reason I'm going for the Dreadlord is because his aura is really handy for gargoyles versus gargoyles and ghouls just in general. to have that vampiric aura keeps the units alive a bit more. And secondly, he's got potentially an ability. I mean, I could use sleep just to take his opposing Death Knight out of action, because he's only got one hero, and when you're relying on one hero, sleep becomes a bit more of an effective spell. The other option is to use Carrion Swarm, which I might go for if he uses a lot of ghouls. I'm not sure if he's using that many ghouls, but if he uses a lot of gargoyles, that's a handy spell against them. Probably a more efficient choice, just in general, would be the Panda. If I hire a Panda, that can kill the gargoyles a lot more easily than the Dreadlord can. But just for stylistic preference, I like using the Dreadlord. If I was taking this game a bit more seriously, I probably would have gone for the Panda, but I'm going for the Dreadlord. I mean, at least the Dreadlord has the combination of the Area of Effect spell and the Area of Effect spell Carrion Swarm and the Vampiric Aura. Notice my opponent, so he's in the vicinity. I might go for a battle with him, and making sure I hit Nova first, because Nova really fucks up those gargoyles in a big way. And he realizes that, so he's running away now. And at this point, I wish I really had got sleep instead, because I could have actually taken out the Death Knight with sleep and surrounded him. That would have been a much more effective idea. But nonetheless, got Carrion Swarm, so I'm going to have to deal with it. Notice now that I've put my gargoyles in a separate group. So I've got ghouls in one group, gargoyles in the second group. He's already creeped the middle, so a bit disappointed about that. I was hoping to do that myself with the gargoyles, but at least I'll be able to heal up. Things looking well. One thing that I'm a bit worried about now is that he's got an expansion somewhere, so I just want to check around, because that's one thing that would get him back into the game. In the meantime, I'm thinking about getting my own expansion, possibly at the 6 o'clock or at the natural expansion close to where I am. And he has indeed got an Acolyte. He hasn't started building the expansion yet, so I'm glad that I checked around for that, because if he'd got away with it, then that might have really caused me some difficulty later on. But at least I've got a sizable force now. I'm heading out an Acolyte just to the side of my base to get a slaughterhouse. That, as I mentioned before, will allow me to build obsidian statues. Really, really handy unit when you've got a lot of troops. Once your army starts to grow in number, definitely recommend getting some statues. And it looks like my army ran into his, so very unfortunate. He caught some rallied units. Decided not to creep, because I'm worried about him attacking my base, so I want to put some pressure on him at this point. See what we can do. Hopefully I can be a little more careful against spirit towers.